follow a developing story out of Knox County where we now know there was a deadly officer-involved shooting last night. It happened on Hubbs Hollow Road. WYMT's McKinley Calandrino has the latest.
The Kentucky State Police have been working on an investigation after an officer-involved shooting happened Monday night in Knox County. KSP's critical response incident was requested to respond to the scene at 6:00 p.m. at Hubbs Hollow Road. State troopers arrived to assist the Barberville Police Department in executing an arrest warrant on 44-year-old Stephen Carter. Shortly after troopers arrived on scene, Mr. Carter was located behind the home with a firearm. One trooper verbally commanded him to drop the weapon. During the encounter, the trooper fired his weapon, fatally wounding Carter. The Knox County coroner pronounced Mr. Carter dead on the scene at 7:44 p.m. This is an ongoing investigation. In Knox County, McKinley Calandrino, WYMT Mountain News.
Suspect is dead after being shot by a San Jacinto County Sheriff's deputy at HCA Kingwood Hospital.
And that's where we find Chaz Miller. He joins us live with what exactly happened here. Chaz, good morning.
Well, Rita, law enforcement says this all started with some sort of an altercation. The suspect was in the hospital behind me. He was being watched by that San Jacinto County Sheriff's deputy. So let's tell you more about what we know. HPD is the investigative lead in this case, and they said to us that that fight broke out, and then the prisoner reached for the deputy's weapon. That's when that deputy fired multiple shots, and the suspect he was watching was killed. The suspect's sister came to this hospital last night.
An incident happened yesterday that we left him in custody with San Jacinto County, and we had no idea they brought him here to this hospital. But since he's been in this hospital, next thing we know, he said everything was going good when we called, and then next thing, by 10 o'clock, we get a phone call saying that he's been shot.
She told us she's upset because law enforcement hasn't given her any answers. She told us they said for her to call this afternoon. Meanwhile, that deputy with the San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office has been with that force for about 5 months. Reporting live in Kingwood, I'm Chaz Miller, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
This morning, the SBI is investigating a Vance County Sheriff's deputy who got into a shooting with someone and that person died. It happened in Henderson near South Chestnut Street and Young Avenue just before midnight Saturday. The deputy was involved in a high-speed chase that started in Vance County and entered the city limits of Henderson. We're told the driver exited the vehicle and an altercation occurred. We're also told the wounded person was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead there. The sheriff's office has not released the person's name at this hour. The State Bureau of Investigations is leading the investigation.
Learned that the person shot by a Sioux City police officer early Saturday morning has died. Sioux City police have now confirmed that 30-year-old Vincente Manzo Hernandez of Hull, Iowa, died as a result of that shooting. It happened around 3:30 Saturday morning after officers with the Sioux City Police Department stopped a vehicle near 18th Street and Grandview Boulevard. Sioux City police say Hernandez was wanted on a felony warrant, and when officers tried to take him into custody, they say he resisted arrest, which led to the shooting. Agents with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation are now looking into that shooting. Sioux City police say they're cooperating with that investigation. Per department policy, the 2 officers involved are now on paid administrative leave, pending both the DCI investigation and an internal review.
Wrestling match for their life.
The life or death struggle the Albuquerque police chief says his officers were in moments before a deadly shooting. We brought this to you as breaking news at 5 o'clock. It happened in the Albuquerque foothills area near Shirley and Mountain. That is where we find reporter Alyssa Munoz. And also, what do we know so far about this shooting?
That's right, Sasha. Well, the shooting happened about a block from where we are right now, here on Mountain Road. And police have been out here since 1 this afternoon investigating. Around 1 Sunday afternoon, Albuquerque police got a call about a domestic argument happening at a house on Mountain Road. As officers arrived on scene, they started talking to a man in the driveway who they say was the offender. Chief Harold Medina says officers told the man he was under arrest, and that's when he started to run. Officers caught and tackled him, and the chief says a life-threatening struggle began.
Officers are in a wrestling match for their life as the individual is armed with a handgun, and officers are trying to keep the handgun pinned down to the ground. At one point in time, the individual is able to, he's on his stomach at this point and is able to kind of turn to his back, which the officers lose the ability to keep him pinned down.
Medina says officers tried to back away when several shots were fired. APD is still trying to figure out if the man had fired his weapon.
Several times he was giving commands, even after the initial shots, to drop the gun, which it doesn't appear he obeyed those commands. He also did make several statements such as, "I don't want to do this," or "Don't make me do this." And he also made some statements to just go ahead and kill him.
No officers were injured, and the man died at the scene. Police say he was a convicted felon and shouldn't have had a gun. Now, police haven't released his name yet, but according to APD data, this would be the third deadly shooting involving police this year. Reporting in Albuquerque, I'm Melissa Munoz, KWT Action 7 News.
As they could very well be planning multiple funerals after responding to a violent attack early this morning. The encounter ended with one injured officer and a dead suspect in what police describe as an ambush and suicide by cop. NBC5's Maria Guerrero is live for us at police headquarters tonight. Maria, what are you learning?
Oh, this is wild, Meredith. That injured officer, the bullet, they say, went through his car, went through one leg and into the other. By the end of all of this, over 100 shots were fired between the suspect, who is dead, and officers in what is being described as a 2-hour-long ambush. A 2-hour-long ambush that sent officers and neighbors ducking for cover.
Lo primero que hice fue proteger a mi niña.
Braulio Guerrero, who lives across the street, covered his 2-year-old daughter with his body. Home surveillance video nearby captured the gunfight between officers and a man who had been firing a gun in the 100 block of West Wanda Drive just after midnight, according to Garland police. Police say Bernardo Mares Jr. fired at 2 responding officers before they could even get out of their cars, injuring one officer and shattering the windshield of the other. He took off, then reportedly hid one street over and opened fire on a female officer, hitting her car before returning to the same house, where despite warnings to surrender, police say Mares walked out with what turned out to be a gun magazine in his hand. 8 officers opened fire. Mares died later at the hospital. Other people in the house were not hurt. Neighbors said the man and his family were grilling that evening before he sped off in his truck, appearing angry. A tourniquet was applied to the injured officer, who is in the hospital, and spoke with Chief Jeff Bryan.
He was in a lot of pain, but he had good spirits, and he's a very resilient officer. He's been with us for 1 year, and the poise that he showed for 1 year officer, I'm very proud of him. In fact, I'm proud of all of our officers. You know, this was an incident where multiple gunshots were being fired, and these officers charged into that, protecting that neighborhood and protecting the other officers.
Okay, so as to a possible motive in all of this, a witness allegedly told police that they heard Mares saying that he would rather be killed by police than go back to jail. The 8 officers who opened fire are on standard leave right now. Garland Police and the District Attorney's Office are handling this situation. Reporting live in Garland, Maria Guerrero, NBC.